Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All praise and glory belongs to Allah, the one who has given us an opportunity. And it is through these opportunities that a person is able to live the purpose of their life. It is through these opportunities that we are able to find peace. It is through these opportunities that we find contentment in our lives. It is through these opportunities that we find the strength to be able to deal with the difficulties of our lives. It is through these opportunities that we remain ourselves without being in a state of redundantness or stillness or a state where we do not progress. The angle or the way to look at the Holy Quran, as we've been talking about, today's is that Quran is the book that can give you what every human being is looking for. We mentioned that Quran is the book by which we can remain a human being. That if we don't have Quran in our lives, we are no longer a human being. But every human being is actually looking for something. And that is every human being. There is no exception in this. So the one thing that every human being is looking for is happiness. Everything that the human being will do will be in regards to happiness. And Quran is the book that can give you true happiness. Now, what is happiness? It is something that neither the philosophers or the scientists or theologians, any field that you're going to look at, they're not able to give you one definition of happiness. For everybody, it's a different. If you were to ask a scientist, then the scientist is through the Darwinian theory. A human being is nothing but a bag of chemicals, and in that bag of chemicals, the brain is responsible for dopamines or oxytocin or serotonin, and these are neurotransmitters that the brain secretes, and then the person feels happy. So when there are certain foods as well, since you've already eaten, the effect of dopamine is I can see in your eyes. There are certain foods that have dopamines in there. One of them happens to be chocolate. So chocolate has dopamines, and that's why when you eat it, you find it's a state of love or happiness. And a lot of the depressive people, they like sugar because sugar also gives you this temporary dopamine. But majority of the food does not have the dopamines. What they have is tyrosine. Okay, so I had to really remember this word. I remember it like tyrosine. So when we eat food, this tyrosine mixes up with other chemicals and produces dopamine. But the thing is, the brain part of it, reason why it secretes dopamines is not so that you can be happy. Brain doesn't need to be happy. The body doesn't need to be happy. It is your mind that requires happiness or is seeking happiness. The dopamines in the brain is a part of the reward system. So the reward system is that you go towards tyrosine, and then you will have dopamine, and this neurotransmitter will keep on sending the signal so that it becomes a habit. So once it becomes a habit, you do not think about it, and these things are now happening at your subconscious level, and then you're able to build those patterns of reward where you will be able to go after these things so that you will struggle and get to food and water and shelter so that your body will be able to survive. Okay? So the reward system is there. And that's what they say, that the more dopamines that are there, the less cortisol is going to be, and the less stress hormones there is, the better you feel. But this feeling just on a chemical basis does not give you true happiness. It's more of an addiction rather than true happiness. Like, yes, gulab jamun, when you have it, you'll feel very good, but it's a short-term reward where you find that you feel good, but then it goes away. So then because it goes away, what do you need again? Another gulab jamun. For our Arab brothers and sisters, baklava, for example. Okay. So baklava, you'll have it, you'll have dopamine, it's a reward system, it's activated, you feel good, but then when the system clears out, then you need another baklava. So basically, food gives you that state, but it's more of an addiction rather than happiness. That's why people get addicted to drugs, because the drugs, they do the same thing. Now, that's a state of happiness that a scientist will say that that's what it is. Because for them, they don't say that there is a soul. They don't say that there is something metaphysical. They don't say that there is a mind. They cannot prove that there is consciousness. This pursuit of happiness is from the fitrah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us. Remember the verse, Surah Rum is the surah, and the verse number is 30. Okay? So the way the verse starts off, it says to Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam that, be in the deen of Hanif. Deen Hanif is associated with Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. Be on that. And what is this Deen Hanif? Then it says, Fitratullah Lati, that part that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created all human beings with divine nature, and there is no change in my creation, there is no exception. And then afterwards it ends again, Zalika Deenul Qayyim. It again ends that this is the Deen which is firm, stable, grounded, straight, strong. Meaning truth. Sirat al-Mustaqim, we say, is the truth, is the true path. So therefore, there is certain happiness that a person will get that is true. But that true happiness will not be available without the divine consciousness or divine nature being pure. Right? Alright? So, now the reason why we have this body is so that we can get to perfection. So this body is a vehicle that takes us towards perfection. So what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the system as is a system based on reward. And the more reward that you seek, the purpose is not reward, the purpose is repetitive action. When this repetitive action happens, you end up building those network, that habit, those malaka, where that stays with you. Then it's not a condition, it's not that it comes and goes. It's not a high and then low, and then again high and then low. Although majority of our spirituality looks like an ECG graph, right? Majority of the people, they say that, we are very spiritual, and then we fall, which we are going to fall in another 9 days. My Ramadan finished, spirituality finished. Then go back again low, then go back up, and then so forth. It looks like an ECG graph. This month, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has protected us from shayateen. And these shayateen that we are protected from, I don't know if you can feel it, But it's a very different state. As soon as my Ramzan will finish, you will start having these thoughts that will repeat in it over and over again. There will be thoughts that you will say, I don't want to think, but they will come. In the month of Ramadan, you don't get those thoughts. You don't feel that way. It's more quieter, it's more calmer, right? So this state that does this, the Arabic, the state, nafse ammara, nafse ammara bisu. So why is it called ammara? Is because it continuously does amr. It's sigha mubaligha, like it just keeps on doing amr. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. And the more it says do this, do this, do this, do this, with all of this time that it's saying do this, do this, do this, do this, there is stress hormones that are secreted. Cortisol is secreted in your body. And when there's so much cortisol, so much stress, you go towards reward. You want dopamines. So then in that thing that it is telling you over and over and over again and producing cortisol, you end up doing it. As soon as you do it, there's the flush of dopamines. You got your reward. Now, because you got your reward, the network is established, the neurotransmitters have repeatedly because done that. Now, slowly, it's not a condition anymore. Then it becomes malaka, right? It becomes a habit. The network is established. So, the reason why I'm giving you this explanation is because if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made the system of reward, there is a reason behind it. And what the Darwinian, reductionist, sort of materialist scientist is viewing as happiness is nothing but the survival of the fittest or to survive. Whereas we have a different perspective of happiness, true happiness. Although the perspective of true happiness, every human being would think that they are seeking true happiness. But if it is just based on chemical reactions, dopamines, oxytocins, and serotonin, and so forth, then then a person is nothing but an animal. Because it's the same thing that they go through. It's reward based. You can train animals, right? You can even train a lion. You can train you can train a snake. Yeah? We've seen back home, they have the snake charmer, it comes and the snake does whatever the snake charmer is saying. The lion jumps through fire, the bear dances, right? You can make the animals do that based on the reward system. The more dopamines and reward system, the serotonin, dopamines, oxytocin will be secreted, the more networking it will be done. And then once the networking is done, it even goes against their instinct. The instinct of a lion is to pounce at you and roar and eat you. But because of this reward system, you can train it, and now it doesn't do that anymore. Me? What are you? So the reason why this happiness that we seek material is that because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed pleasure in it. Hubba dunya, the reason why we get attached to these things because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put pleasure in it. And the pleasure is working as the reward system. So we can recite the salawat. I would try. There's a verse that I know by heart, but it's better that if I look at it, then you'll say that, okay, probably it's true. Right? And I'm looking at the Holy Quran. So, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم زين للناس حب الشهوات زين للناس. So it becomes beautiful, attractive. للناس for people. حب الشهوات. Love for shahwa. Shahwa is attraction. Attraction. So for people, it becomes beautiful. Love of attraction. Love of attraction for what? من النساء والبنين, or women and children. والقناطير المقنطرة, and big, like big bank accounts. مقنطرة من الذهب والفضة. So, like piles and piles of gold and silver. Now we don't have gold and silver, we have money, bank accounts. Right? Yeah. والخيل المصممة, and fast moving, or خيل المصممة means genetically elite horses. The ones that were, yeah, cars now. But khayl al-musaffama would be a Lamborghini, not a Civic. It will be something which is, like you've seen like horses that are of genealogy, they are basically bred, and they are very specific type of horses, breed. And there are shows as well, you can go and, So Khailul Musaffama is like fast moving, or genetically asil horses, right? So now we have Lamborghinis, we have Maseratis, we have Aston Martin, we have all of these that are brands. Then not everybody has it. You want to have it. Civic everybody has. It's not Khailul Musaffama. It's, although for some people RAV4 becomes a seal, it's not. It's just a regular car. Nobody really. This is not part of the Zuyyana Linnasi Hubushawa. Otherwise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says just khayl. But this khayl al-musaffama means that. Well, an army will have. So the cattle and crops. So now in today's term, we do have farmers who have a lot of cattle and they'll have a lot of crop. But for us now, it's groceries. An-ami wal-hars, it can be groceries, it can be things that we own. Because cattle in those days were assets. And the more crop that you had were assets. So it can also mean assets. The more, like, for example, mutual funds or your portfolio, right? Assets that you have. So, an-ami wal-hars. So what are these? Zalika mata'ul hayatud dunya. These are the pleasures of this world. Now you're putting it together. So the reward system, pleasure, dopamines, serotonin, right? Oxytocin. You look at gold, especially the sisters. You look at gold, what happens? Reward, dopamines, again neurotransmitters, builds a habit, and the person cannot be okay without getting the gold. Why? Because the more it says gold, 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 what happens to the hormones? You get more stress hormones, cortisol. You want to get rid of it. How do you get rid of it? You get rid of it by having gold. As soon as you get gold, dopamine starts secreting. Now you are attached to gold. Now because you're attached to gold, that is the hubbe dunya. Now because you're attached, now every time you want gold. Because gold is going to give you those dopamines. And it's the reward system of the brain. And it continues that way, and before you know it, for that person, gold now becomes something that they cannot live without. They have everything, but they don't have gold, they cannot live without that. And they will continuously keep on wanting gold. Right? Because of this, like, is it making sense? 2 plus 2 is 4. So mata'ul hayatud dunya, wallahu indahu husnul ma'ab. So whatever is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best, that is going to stay, that you're going to be returned to. So this is just zalika mata'ul hayatud dunya. These are the pleasures of this world. Right? Women, children, and with children too, we used to have, a person would say, I have 12 children. that quantity would secrete dopamines for them. It would reward. Now you have how many? One, two. Doesn't secrete dopamine. So, but now for the dopamines to be secreted, my son is a doctor. That becomes the source for reward, for the dopamines to be secreted and that network to be established for program or malaka. Alright? Yes? So these are the working behind. The topic is happiness, by the way. But these are the workings behind what happens to us. How do we get attached? Why do we get attached to this dunya? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps on telling us this is mata'ul hayatul dunya. It's just the pleasure of this dunya. It's just the means of this dunya. It's not your goal. Meaning these means are not going to give you happiness. This has become beautified in your mind. The reason why it's beautified in your mind is what I'm telling you why it's beautified in our mind. Right? Alright? Then it says, قُلْ أَنَبِّئُكُمْ بِخَيْرٍ مِنْ ذَلِكُمْ. Should I tell you the news? Should I tell you that it is better than this of what you have, or better than all of this that has been described? For the people, لِلَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا, for the people that have taqwa in the Rabbihim, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the ones that have the righteousness or piousness. So when taqwa is translated as righteousness or piousness, it's someone like on a diet. Right? So someone on a diet, but taqwa doesn't mean someone on a diet. Someone on a diet will say, I'll eat this, but I won't eat this. I'm watching my figure, or I'm watching my weight. So that's how we translate in Urdu as well, parhezgari. But it's not, taqwa is not this. It is the strength of the will of a human being, that when he or she is placed between two things, one that is right and one that is wrong, the person's free will with that power chooses the right. Okay? It's not about diet, spiritual diet. I won't have this, I won't have this. Okay? So those are the people. Jannatun tajri min tahtiha al-anhar khalidina fiha. So they are going to be in heaven, and in heaven you're going to have better than this. Right? Again, reward system. So yes, we understand that there is a reward, there's dopamines that are secreted in your mind. You want to go towards these pleasures to build that network where you get attached, you get hubbi dunya. But if you were to let go, we can give you better dopamines. We can give you better reward. And this better reward is going to remain with you forever, rather than the pleasures of this world, which is temporary. What are you? Yes? So topic is happiness. Okay? Again, the topic is happiness. You see, like in this world, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put pleasure in something, within that pleasure He's put pain. So you've seen, you have it here, walnut. Yes? You have walnut. So the walnut outside is just the shell. Within there is, okay. So think about walnut. Outside is pleasure. Within there is pain. Then there's another walnut. Outside is pleasure. Within there is pain. So there is no pain that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made in this world that it is not hiding some sort of pleasure. And there is no pleasure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made which is not hiding some sort of pain. With me? So now, for example, gulab jamun or baklava tastes very good. You get dopamines, everything, but then what happens? Pain is, the sugar level goes up, then mazallah, astaghfirullah, pancreas won't work no good, then insulin, and then diabetes, and you go to the doctor, metformin, and then for life you're on it. Right? What happened? Oh, I had too many gulab jamuns, or I had too much baklava, or I had too much sweets. You see, in that pleasure, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put pain. The same thing, you go through the pain of life. You go through pain of staying up all night, but then you have the pleasure of achievement, like a degree or passing an exam or raising children. It's a very painful endeavor, right? But we still do it. We not 1, 2, 3, 4, we still do it. We know the pain that we went through, especially the mothers, but the fathers too. Every 2 hours you have to get up, feed the child. Some of the brothers looking at me, we didn't do nothing like that. What's over here? We didn't do anything. But when you raise children, there is pain, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not create anything without these two intertwined. Now what happens is that once we have this outside, let's say the walnut looks pleasure, we get attracted to it. And then dopamine secretes a reward system and it builds that neuron network and it becomes habit. But then we feel the pain. As soon as we feel the pain, then the same pleasure or happiness that we thought we would get, we see that it's not there. Then what do? Then we start seeking pleasure or happiness again. And it becomes a continuous process where a person keeps on going through the same cycle. And when they go through the same cycle, when they look back, they never really could get happiness. It was just they wanted it, but they never got happiness. With me? Yes? The scientific part was okay? Should I repeat it? No. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. So, Nafs Amara done? The reason Amara is it keeps on repeating. When it keeps on repeating, then I won't say the scientific word, but you get stressed. When you get stressed, you want to relieve that stress. By relieving of that stress, you go and end up doing it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also left pleasure in sin as well. So it's not just the worship that has pleasure, sins also have pleasure. That's why it becomes a test. If there was no pleasure in sin, then people will not be wanting to sin. Like you know about ghibat. You get a lot of pleasure. You do ghibat, or people do ghibat for pleasure. They like talking about someone behind their back. Tale telling. You know what this person said about you? You find people have pleasure. If you look at all of the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that they are gunah kabira, where a person will end up getting punishment for sure, all of them are associated with some sort of pleasure. Now, if a person goes through this path, same dopamines and serotonin and oxytocin are going to be secreted, same neurotransmitters, same networking is going to be done, and same malaka and programs are going to be written, where they're going to end up doing it subconsciously. And if they don't get it, if they don't do it, they will feel the need to do it. With me? Now, of course, when you do worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, spiritual experiences also secrete the same neurotransmitters. That's why people get addicted to salah. Then when the time of salah comes, they start feeling uncomfortable. And as soon as they pray, they are calm now. Like a person who wants a cigarette, they've got their cigarette, now they're calm. Now this sort of addiction for salah is not what salah is intended for. And this happens with dua as well. This happens with the recitation of the Quran as well. On the chemical level, this is what's happening. But on the spiritual level, a person is not getting anywhere. It's not really true happiness. It's not the happiness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has intended for us. With me? Sorry? Yes, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. Right? Yes, it's crucial. So the reason why I'm making it a little bit like giving you all of these things is so that we understand that when our kids ask us the question, how come I don't have, people can do this and I cannot do this? You have some sort of basic information which you can tell them, and they've also studied something along the lines of their grades, and maybe it will make sense to them. That if you sin, you will still end up getting that sort of reward and pleasure sort of system happening, but it will become your habit. Once it becomes your habit, you're going to think that you're happy, but you're not happy. It's just a chemical reaction that's happening in your body. Now, if you were to see the mind of that person, if you were to see the soul of that person, it's in pain. The soul of the person is in pain. Why? Because they know this from fitra, from the God-given nature, that this is something wrong, something missing. It's not true happiness. The things that I'm running after, it's not right. That's why you see the Hollywood and Bollywood stars, they have a lot of money and fame, but they're depressed. They take antidepressants, they commit suicide, they are, psychologically they need therapy. Well, if money was happiness, fame was happiness, having a huge house was happiness, if having a nice car was happiness, how come these people are stressed? How come they're depressed? How come they're not happy? How come you are wanting to go on the same route? When you see that they're not happy, you know they're not happy, why do you want to do the same thing? Why do you want to repeat the same thing? Thinking that you are going to be different than them? No. You're going to do the same thing. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us from the same. Everyone has this fitrah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to them. And what does the fitrah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants? Wants happiness. And what happiness does it want? It wants absolute happiness. It doesn't want short-term happiness, reward system. It wants absolute happiness. The only being which is absolute happiness is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The rest, anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is not absolute. Anything associated with Him is absolute happiness. Otherwise, if pursued, I'll give you a quote, okay? Just to tell you. If I can find it. This is a quote from 1931, and the guy who said this is there is a American Dream. American Dream? You don't know what American Dream? The Pursuit? New Zealand Dream. Chalo, New Zealand Dream. What is New Zealand Dream?
Always in dream.
Yeah, always in dream. The American Dream was a coined term which was coined to attract people to the Americas. Nobody used to go there. It was very harsh weather. It was, either people would be thrown as prisoners. Nobody wanted to go. In 1931, this guy by the name of James Truslow Adams, and he's quite famous, he came up with a definition of American Dream. Okay? So he said that dream of social order in which man and each woman shall be able to attain to the fullest stature of which they are innately capable. Begin to simpler English?
Yes.
Okay. So he said that the American dream is that it's a social order, it's a social system. It is a system of governance. It is a system by which people will live their life. This system will give opportunity to man or a woman to be able to get to complete from their potential into action. So whatever they are capable of doing, whatever their potential is, they will be able to utilize that potential and reach that stature. Alright? Reach that place, reach that maqam. Very attractive. Yes? It's very attractive. And if you look at this statement, this is basically what is going to be in the government of the Imam of the time. The facilitation of the environment will be such that the true human potential, you will be able to utilize it to acquire the level or maqam of a human being that is going towards perfection. With me? So the term that he came up with, the definition that he came up with, is what every single human being wants. It's very natural. It's fitra. That you want to have a place where you live, where you can achieve a place of your potential, of your capability. And if you can give them that, they will be happy. But was that system able to give? No. In America, 8 out of 10 people are depressed. 8 out of 10 people. In Canada, they said in the early 2000s, 5 out of 10. Okay? And I would say that the other 5 are in denial. They're not. Yes. So if this thing was supposed to be that, and it was a pursuit of happiness, liberty, and freedom for all, why is it that today the system is the most oppressive, that is against oppression of freedom, liberty, and happiness around the world? That has created the most amount of oppression. Why is that? Reason is because what it's giving to people is that reward system, not true happiness. Right? And majority of us also left our countries for this. Reward. What reward? You'll have security. You'll have education for the children. You'll be able to earn, make money, right? You'll be able to live happy. We have a social welfare system. All of these things were reward-based that made us leave our countries. Why do we leave our countries? Because there they made it punishment. They made the countries on fire. They got all of the things that are there for a person wanting to be happy. They made it into a hellfire. So what are you going to do? You're going to move. Where are you going to move to? Where this reward system is there. With me? So when you come here, you realize, yes, all of this is there, but there is a price to pay. And the price might be my children. The price might be my faith. The price might be, that I will not be able to get to when my loved one passes away. I might reach there when the grave is all solid. We start realizing that. Right? But if a person is in the pursuit of true happiness, they can literally live almost anywhere in the world and they can still be happy. But if they're seeking not true happiness but chemical-based, reward-based, then even in the best of the countries, quote unquote, they will be not happy. Right? Depressed. Hora? Okay. We're going to recite this salawat. So now if you look at the way the Quran gives you real happiness, I will just mention it and then we'll go through the explanation. I think the false happiness is very clear. No more? It's very clear, right? And I would suggest that you think about it too. That the happiness that you're seeking, is it true happiness or is it the chemical happiness? Yes. Right. So, the first one is that Quran actually teaches us true happiness through the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, ala dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. That it is with the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the hearts find peace, they find contentment, they find itminan is happiness. It's a state of grounding. It's a state of grounding. It's a state of stillness. It's a state where everything is okay in life. Right? So now, zikr has a lot of other meanings. I'm just going with the term, and we'll explain later. Gratitude, shukr. So we're talking about now real happiness, gratitude. The more you are in a state of gratitude, the more happy you are. Right? If I have 2 pieces of clothes and I have 2 dishes and I have 2 glasses, right? If I only have 2 of everything, of what I need, right? And I said, Shukr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, thank you. But not just saying thank you, I've given what shukr is, and we'll repeat it again. But if just our own understanding, I say thank you. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? He increases that to 4 spoons for everything. Right? Why? Because I was, thank you Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If I say thank you on the 4, what does he do? Becomes 8. So you see this reward is still reward, being in a state of gratitude. And that's real happiness, because the more gratitude you feel, the more those things increase. And the more gratitude will increase. Before you were thankful for 2 things, now you're thankful for 4. Then you're thankful for 8. Then you're thankful for 16. Right? The more you stay in the state of gratitude, the more the true happiness you're going to have. With me? If you start thinking about what you don't have, it's a stress hormone, cortisol, and the more stress hormone is going to be there, the more dopamines you want, you will chase them, and then you will not get. Plus, it's kufrani ni'mat, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like that, the state of not being thankful. Then what happens to my 2 spoons? Yeah. Or they go away. The third one is trust in God. So, tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The people who have tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are happy. So let me just, before we explain, people who remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are happy. People who are in the state of gratitude of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are happy. The people who rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, trust on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are happy. The ones who do righteous and charitable deeds, they are happy. The ones who forgive, they are happy. Like, all these things are making sense. Like, the person who can't forgive is always stressed. As soon as you forgive, you calm down. Right? And you remember who has the higher level? The person asking the apology or the person forgiving? Yeah. Forgiving? 50-50, that's it's like multiple choice, A, B, C, D, always C. No, so the person who asks for apology is higher than the person who forgives. Reason why is that asking for an apology is more difficult than forgiving. Because in forgiving, the person always feels higher. And the person who asks for apologies always feels lower. So the harder the task, the higher the status of a person. Okay? So now, there's no harm in asking for forgiveness, especially for the sisters, because the men always ask forgiveness anyways. But from the sisters, asking forgiveness elevates your level. You're higher. So all right. So how many we have to count? So I can ask you. Remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the person is happy. Gratitude, the one who is in state of gratitude is happy. Trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is happy. Righteous deeds and charity is happy. Forgiveness is happy. Moderation. Now here, moderation doesn't mean that you start balancing the life and the hereafter. I've said to you, everything is the hereafter. Nothing is this world. It only becomes the world if you choose it to be, and it becomes hereafter if you choose it to be. It's your choice. Money can become worldly or money can become religious. Status can become worldly or status can become religious. It's a person's choice.
Yeah, but still the prophets, not prophets, Ali said, when you live as you're not going to die. So we have to have like money and happiness and all of that. We don't have just to think about it.
Yeah, you need money.
And you have to do for your...
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It can be religious or it can be worldly. So if you get attached to money, worldly. No attached to money, religious. So it's not saying no money, no house, no car, you have to live in this world. What I'm saying is that when it becomes worldly, up to the person. So, someone comes, give me $1 million, I give you a million, no problems. Someone comes, give me $1 and I can't give.
It depends on how much money.
Yeah. So any kind of attachment will be a worldly person, right? हो रहा है? So it's not about the object. It's not about the object. It's about the perception that it is attaches you to it. Right? If it's children, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala you raise them, it's religion. If children you raise them for the sake of your own self-satisfaction, of saying that my children became doctors and lawyers, that attachment with children now is worldly. With me? Job is good. For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're earning sustenance, which is right. But if job, so I build a career, I go on the career ladder, I become VP, I become C-level. If this is what it is, then this is attachment to the world. You progress, but as long as you have this in mind, that it is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ho gaya? So, if you want to, I could give you, anyways, I think this is good. How many things now? 6 things. So this is what the homework is. Okay? I can take it up tomorrow. It's possible I can take it up tomorrow. Homework is this. These 6 things, find the verses correlating to it. No, I'm not going to do it. So, okay, so out of 6, maybe 2. Okay, at least 2. All right? So if you do that, you do all 6, what should I say? That it will secrete dopamine for you. Reward would be that we will all of us recite a salawat for you specifically, okay? Whoever does. So now with salawat, the reward of one salawat versus 50 or 20, and everyone with a different spiritual level, the reward will not be able to calculate. The angels are not enough, the rain is not enough. Okay? Spiritual cash, you'll have so much, you'll be a trillionaire. Okay? You can use that later on. Like in heaven, you can use spiritual cash. Here it will be a problem, but there you can use. Right? So these 6 things you will search in the Holy Quran and find the verses that relate to that. Okay? So now, without the Holy Quran, a person cannot be happy. It is with the Holy Quran that we will find true happiness. Every human being is looking for happiness. There's nobody here that is not looking for happiness. But the definition of happiness that we have created for ourselves is something which feels innate, feels like it's coming naturally. It feels like it's a natural attraction. But the reason why it's a natural attraction is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed that system for trial purposes, for fitna, for fitan, for imtihan, for ibtila. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I am the one who created الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did this. He created life and death, or death or life, so that He can test among us who perform the best of actions. If this was not the case, there will be no test. And the one book that can give you true happiness is the Holy Quran. But now you start looking at the Holy Quran this way. Okay? The verses that will come up, those are the ways to find true happiness. And then you will also know when you're not happy, what is the reason why you're not happy. Majority of the time, we don't know what the reason is. It would be either you're not remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're not relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're not performing righteous deeds, right? You're not in the state of shukr, you're not forgiving someone, right? What's the sixth one? Yeah, you're not content. You're not looking at the world in which things are for you as means for the akhirah rather than they become means for this world. So reason would be زُيَّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ وَالْبَنِينَ وَالْقَنَاطِيرِ الْمُقَنطَرَةِ مِنَ الذَّهَبِ وَالْفِضَّةِ وَالْخَيْلِ الْمُصَوَّمَةِ وَالْأَنْعَامِ وَالْحَرْثِ ذَلِكَ مَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا. That's the reason why. That is to become beautified. Alright? So true happiness, if you want to do it, it's these things. The state more you are in gratitude and the state more you are content, the more happy you will be. But this happiness, someone is content, someone who has the state of gratitude, they don't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you think they will still be happy truly? They won't. Because happiness has to be absolute. Like you find a lot of the rich people, and we're done for the lesson of today, but you find a lot of rich people, when they have gone through all of this, they become philanthropists. Right? Like, what was this guy, very rich? Bill Gates. You look at his clothes, he looks like he doesn't earn more than $20 an hour. Right? His haircut, his everything. Why? Because he's gone through what he thought was happiness. He got to the point where he became the richest person in the world, but he never found it. So where he's looking for happiness now? In simple life. In not wanting to wear those Armani and Gucci and all that. Right? Just simple clothes. But he thinks he's happy, but he's not happy. Why? Because true happiness is in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's in being in the state of gratitude of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's to perform righteous and pious deeds of charity for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the personalities which we all happen to know, and she's an icon when it comes to charity, is Mother Teresa. She lived for 20 years on, that round bread they give? That's all she ate. In communion, they give this round bread. It's supposed to be the flesh of Christ and the blood is the wine. Round bread, it's like, for us, it's like crackers. Okay? She would only have that for 20 years. And the amount that she did, her life, if you look at it, it's her, in her journal, she would write, no matter how much I do, there's a darkness and a void inside of me that never gets filled. That there's darkness inside of me and there's a void. It never gets filled. And this darkness never goes away. Now, Mother Teresa has become an icon when it comes to charity and doing things for other people. But because she did not do it truly for the true absolute power, true absolute God, she did it for something else. Therefore, her void remained. So people who you see doing a lot of philanthropy, right? If they don't do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they might feel they are happy or content, but they will never be. So the only thing is, reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have this thing about absolute is because of the fitrat He has given to us. This will not be satisfied with anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the end, Imam Ali alayhi salam says that whoever has found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has found everything, and who hasn't found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has found nothing. Because actually what everyone is looking for is happiness, and the only absolute happiness is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you found him, you found everything. If you didn't find him, you found nothing. You go here. So the mindset that can be built for happiness is the thinking patterns are all given in the Quran. You recite it, you learn from it, you'll have the thinking pattern where you will remain in the state of happiness. Okay? If this is not, then tomorrow we're going to start talking about the same thing. If this is, because this is very important. Because every single one of us is looking for happiness. Okay? The happiness of children is only happiness of children until they are good children. When they become bad children, same children give you so much stress, so much grief that it's just not happiness anymore. Husband and wife are good until you don't fight. Then when you're fighting, then you're like, oh, my destiny is wrong. Why did I have to marry you, that person who got us together? If I can find that person, you know. So if you look at all of the stuff that we think is about happiness, it only is happiness as long as things go the right way. And if things don't go the right way, then we're not happy anymore. Well, the reason why we're not happy anymore because things will go the wrong way. There has to be something that can keep you on the right way. And that something is religion in the Holy Quran. Okay? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wal asr. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. من الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر